No one remembered when the house was built. It stood slightly apart from the others, not far enough to feel abandoned, yet distant enough to feel excluded. The paint had faded evenly, as if time had worked carefully to erase it without drawing attention. The windows were intact, the door worked. Everything about it suggested normality, except for one thing. The house responded to sound. The man who moved in first noticed it on his third night. He had been speaking aloud to himself, a habit formed by years of living alone. As he finished a sentence, he heard something strange, a soft echo, not from the walls, but from deeper inside the house. It wasn't a repetition, it was an adjustment. His words returned slightly altered, slower, lower, as if the house had taken time to consider them before answering. He laughed it off. Old houses made noise, they always had. But the house continued listening. When he whispered, the house creaked softly. When he spoke firmly, the walls settled. When he stayed silent, the air grew tense, expectant, almost disappointed. He stopped talking aloud after that. The silence became unbearable. Not empty, attentive. At night, the house shifted subtly, responding to thoughts he hadn't voiced. When he worried, the hallway lights flickered. When he felt calm, the floorboards relaxed, their usual groans fading into stillness. The house was learning him. Weeks later, he discovered the first rule. The house did not like lies. The moment he spoke something untrue, a casual denial, a harmless excuse, the temperature dropped sharply. The sound that followed was not loud, but precise. A single knock, somewhere inside the walls, exactly where his voice had come from, correcting him. From that night on, the rules multiplied. Do not lie. Do not raise your voice. Do not speak when the house is quiet. The house began finishing his sentences, not aloud, but through movement, a creak for agreement, a sharp crack for correction, a long, drawn-out settling sound when it wanted him to continue. He tried recording the sounds. The recordings played back as silence. Neighbors noticed him changing. He spoke less, listened more. His movements slowed, careful not to interrupt whatever rhythm the house had established. When asked about the house, he paused too long before answering, as if waiting for permission. One night, exhausted and frustrated, he broke the rules. He shouted. The response was immediate. Every sound in the house stopped at once. No creaks, no hum of electricity, no air movement. The silence was so complete, it felt solid. Then the house spoke, not in words, in structure. A door appeared where there had never been one, directly opposite him in the hallway, perfectly aligned, already aged as though it had always belonged. The house was not punishing him, it was replying. Inside the room was nothing but a microphone on a small wooden stand, old-fashioned, dusty, connected to nothing. When he stepped closer, the house creaked gently, encouraging. He never left the house after that night. People said he chose isolation, that he preferred quiet, that he had always been strange. They did not know the truth. The house had found its voice,
The first
and it
night
needed
after
him to
entering
keep
the
listening.
house, nothing happened. That silence was worse than fear. He sat on the same wooden chair where he had been standing before. The air felt thicker now, as if the walls were breathing, slowly, patiently. Every sound felt delayed, his breath, the creak of the floor, even his thoughts. He tried to remember why he came here, but the reason was fading, not forgotten, removed. The house did not rush. It never did. At some point, he noticed something strange. The clock on the wall was ticking, but the hands were not moving. Tick, tick, tick. Each sound echoed too long, like it was repeating itself inside his head. He stood up and touched the wall. It was warm. Not human warm, more like something alive pretending to be wood. That's when the whisper returned. Not from behind him, not from the hallway. It came from inside the wall. It didn't say words at first, just a soft, patient sound, like someone learning how to speak. He stepped back. The whisper followed. In the hallway, doors had appeared. They were not there before. Each door looked different, different paint, different handles, different ages. One looked decades old, another looked brand new. One door had his name carved into it. He stared at it for a long time. The house waited. Finally, he reached out. The door was unlocked. Inside was a room that looked disturbingly familiar. A bed like the one he slept on as a child, a radio playing faint static, a window that showed nothing outside, just darkness, and photographs on the wall. Photographs of him. Not recent ones, moments he never remembered being photographed. Him standing alone, him sitting silently, him looking scared, all taken from angles that suggested someone had always been watching. His hands began to shake. That's when the radio spoke. Not loudly, calmly. "You stayed," the voice said. He didn't answer. "You always do," it continued. The voice was not deep, not demonic. It sounded familiar, like his own voice slowed down and worn out. "You don't leave places that hurt you. You let them learn you." The radio clicked off. The room went silent again. He tried to leave. The hallway was shorter now. The front door was gone. In its place stood a mirror. He approached it carefully. His reflection lagged behind his movements just slightly, enough to notice, enough to feel wrong. In the reflection, he looked calmer, too calm. The reflection smiled. He did not. The whisper returned, louder this time, not from the walls, from the ceiling, from the floor, from inside his chest. The house was no longer listening. It was responding. Rooms shifted, doors disappeared, shadows rearranged themselves. The house was adjusting, learning how he thought, how long he stayed quiet, how fear settled into him. Eventually, he stopped resisting, not because he was weak, but because the house made resistance feel unnecessary, comfortable even. He sat down again. The wooden chair felt correct. The silence wrapped around him gently. The whisper softened. "You belong to quiet places, places that remember." His breathing slowed. The house did not close in. It didn't need to. By morning, if it was morning, the house had finished learning his name, and somewhere, far away, another person felt an unexplained urge to visit an old house they had never noticed before.